I don't have much time. I'm writing this in a haste. By the time someone important or someone who cares sees this, it'll be too late. I guess I should start from the beginning. That's where it all began, right? Or maybe it started from before and I just never realized it. I think it started when I was 12 or so years old, or at least that's when I realized it. I was a scrawny and skinny 12-year-old. I was an only child, and my mother passed away 3 months ago from an unknown cause, and my dad didn't seem to be too sad. After she died, my dad showed his true colors. Before, he'd been the nicest person you could have ever known. He was generous, amazing, wholesome, and funny. Now, however, he seemed to be the exact opposite. He was a rude, angry, and a very, very mean person. That was an understatement. He was more than a mean person. The most suspicious part? My grandma had died and left my mother a great deal of money, millions to be exact. My family was always on the richer side, but this would add it up a great amount. After my mother's sudden death in the bathroom, while my dad was in the bedroom to which it was connected, all the money was transferred to my dad's account. You might be thinking, your dad killed your mom. It's so obvious. I know that. But who's going to take the word of a 12-year-old who has to go to the guidance counselor's office twice a week because I just can't control my anger? Anyway, after my mother's death, I seemed to hate everything, yet had the urge to know everything. I always felt restless, and nothing ever seemed to appeal me. My school grades were dropping at alarming rates. The principal had to call my dad into the office twice to tell him that I had taken out my anger on another student. My dad, of course, didn't care much about this. I hated school, to be honest. I hated life. I hated my mom for leaving me with this monster. I hated my dad for being the two-faced idiot he was and for killing my mom. I hated everybody and everything, from my grandma for writing the will in the first place to the men who would wolf whistle at me whenever I would pass them by at school. As for now I looked, I had short brown hair, tan eyes and freckles. Now that I look back at the images which I may never see again, I was beautiful. Beauty in itself was a disguise. People dress up as other people, wear costumes, and even go as far as to change their appearance forever into someone else, become someone else, desperate for the beauty that they had never had. Beauty is a curse, something that plain people just don't understand. It makes you something that other people look up to, something that people envy. Why don't you be more grateful for your beauty? Everyone would ask whenever I told them this. There are many people who would kill to be as pretty as you. If I could only tell them what a pain it was, tell them how annoying it was to have people look back at you twice. Enough of my beauty and my rants. Like I said, I don't have time. January 7th, 1999. It was a normal day, or so it seemed. Little did I know that this day would haunt me until my death. I was laying on my back, in my room, thinking about how annoying my life was and how nice it would be to just die or to just run away or to pretend to die. There was a problem though. I was scared of death. It wasn't death specifically I was afraid of. I was afraid of not being there, missing out on so much, just being a mere photo or memory. Or worse, no one remembering me, no one caring. Because of this, I wanted to know how and when I would die, so that I'd be ready. As I was sitting on my bed, I wondered once again how I was going to die. Then the voice in my head spoke, "You're going to be murdered." I sat up in shock. What was that? "You're going to be murdered?" the voice said again. I looked around my bedroom. It looked just the same as always, with the yellow and grey walls, the desk, the dressing table, my bookshelf, and the four-poster bed on which I was sitting. I felt confused. What had just happened? I asked myself again. How and when am I going to die? As if it were just waiting for me to ask. The voice in my head again said, "You're going to be kidnapped when you're 32. You will go missing for 2 years, and when you're 34, you'll get murdered." I felt shocked, but had a need to know more. Why wait 2 years and not murder me when I was kidnapped? I was claustrophobic, and I always imagined people who got kidnapped stuck in small trunks. You or them. Remember that? You or them. I guess that I would be given the choice to save myself at the price of someone else dying. It suddenly dawned on me that I was going to be brutally murdered. The thought in itself was agonizing. I was going to be in a state where I could either save someone or myself. Who would this someone be? I can't tell you that, said the voice in my head. Frustrated, I slipped back into my pillow. 22 more years to go. I wasn't sure how to feel about that. I felt sick, yet curious. I always wanted to know more about the future. I just wondered if I could ask more questions. What is the name of the person I'll marry in the future? Julius, said the voice. I burst out laughing. Even as I lay back, the name Julius put in my head an image of the old men who would wolf whistle at me as I passed them. What are the names of my future children? Serenity, Tommy, and David, it said. I once more burst out laughing. There was no way I would name my child David. I told myself that this was all a lie, and it was the result of me not sleeping for 3 nights in a row. I punched my pillow into a comfortable shape and pulled the blanket up and closed my eyes. I told myself that this was all a lie. I was going to die at 34. I just couldn't believe it. I knew I wasn't going to die at 34. I wasn't going to marry some creep called Julius, and I sure as hell wasn't going to name my kid David. No matter what I told myself, I couldn't help but think about what had happened that day. It seemed to haunt me. Wherever I went, whoever I talked to. Could this be the person that's going to murder me? I would ask myself every time I met someone new. I couldn't help it. It was scary. The small voice in my head had never spoken to me since that day, yet I could still hear it as clearly as ever. When I met Julius and we started dating, I told myself that it was just a coincidence. When he proposed, I told myself the same thing. Same thing when I had my daughter, who Julius named Serenity. Over and over as the things I heard in my bedroom when I was 12 slowly happened. I told myself, it's just a coincidence. It has to be a coincidence. Serenity wanted to name my second child Thomas, or Tommy for short, when she was just 5. When David was born, I named him after my best friend who died of lung cancer the previous year. I continued to tell myself that it was just a coincidence. None of the things in my bedroom when I was 12 happened. I just imagined them. That is what I told myself to convince myself every day. How could I be so stupid? I wasn't stupid, just desperate. Desperate to believe that my now perfect life wasn't going to come to a brutal and unfair end. I guess the saying, life isn't fair, really applies to me. Fast forward to present day. I'm 32 now. I'm home alone. Julius is at work. Serenity and Tommy are at school, and David is at his daycare. I'm alone in my room, and I don't know how to explain the black van in my driveway and all the clattering noise and shouts coming from downstairs. I don't want to die. Please, I just don't want to die.